welcome everybody to our launch day for the UndocuHustle Learning Hub. We are so excited that this day is here. We have been working so hard, diligently for so many months now to bring you all this amazing learning hub. Today, we're going to talk about all the group of folks who participated in the creation of this hub. We're going to have entrepreneurs featured, so you're definitely in for a great hour here with us today. I would like to again indicate that we are going to have folks on our chat, both on Zoom and Facebook Live, being on the lookout for questions, comments. Again, we invite you all to type in your organization, give a shout out to your business. We will record the chat and send it back to everybody who registered for today's event in case you want to reach out to anybody. Shout out to the Immigrants Rising team, Tony, Grace, Gladys, who are going to be on the lookout in the chat boxes in the background, communicating with you all today. And before we get started with our launch day here, I did want to take a moment to really thank and acknowledge all the great work by all the organizations that are out there protecting DACA, that are fighting for DACA and are fighting for broader comprehensive immigration reform. We know this week has been difficult, challenging, not just this week, this whole year, but definitely thank you to all the organizations that are out there. It really is a privilege to be part of this amazing network and this movement. And then I also wanted to mention that part of the work that we are doing related to entrepreneurship at Immigrants Rising is very much in response to the economic challenges related to COVID-19. We know that our immigrant communities have been affected a lot, and so we hope that this tool is something that individuals can also use to pivot, to identify new ways to be able to make money during these challenging times. So now I'm going to start by introducing myself. For those of you who may not know me, I'm Ileana Perez, the Director of Research and Entrepreneurship with Immigrants Rising. I am an undocumented immigrant, currently a DACA recipient. I've been in this country for 25 years. I'm originally from the state of Hidalgo in Mexico, near Mexico City, and I settled in the California Central Valley. So right in the middle of California, a very agricultural area. And I've had the great privilege of thinking about entrepreneurship for about a decade. In practice, I have done a lot of independent contractor work way before DACA. This is when a lot of our work began. Also in academia, as part of my PhD dissertation studies, my dissertation was focused around this topic. And with Immigrants Rising, for over a decade now, we have been informing the undocumented community about these options. So it's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. And now I'm going to hand it off to my co-host, Chris Mercado.
Thanks, Ileana, and thank you to everybody who joined us. My name is Chris Mercado. I run Grant Answers, and we do data strategy and product consulting in the education and workforce development space. So definitely geared towards social impact. This past weekend was my 7th anniversary of running Grant Answers and becoming an entrepreneur. It may sound like I know what I'm doing, but I'm still continuously learning. And that is why I was super excited to work on the hub, because I still learn a lot from it now. Between Ileana and myself, you have an interesting contrast. So between us, you have East and West Coast represented, because I really grew up in New York City. She grew up in a rural area, and I grew up in super inner city, predominantly Black neighborhoods of Jamaica, Queens, and Harlem. Even though we have education in common, so Ileana and I both went through a PhD study. In her recently completing her dissertation, I admire it so much because I left right before starting my dissertation. And the reason for that was I could not see myself being employed by a college or university and fulfilling my dream of becoming a college professor, simply because of status. Um, and that's when soon after, I had to pivot into entrepreneurship, and I was forced into this path. Um, and that is why sort of my contributions to the hub means a little bit more when I reflect on my journey. But where we are totally united is in the idea that entrepreneurship really has the power to change our lives, our trajectory, and you'll see that throughout the agenda. So in the agenda, you will see that Ileana is going to go over a little bit of what's going on at Immigrants Rising and kind of describe what the UndocuHustle really is. And then we'll take you through the building of the hub as well as a demo. And then we'll get to what I think is going to be like my favorite part, the entrepreneur spotlight. You have like there's stars in the audience right now. And that includes these 5 panelists that we're going to have. So Raina doing amazing things in the nonprofit space. Adam doing amazing things in the music industry. Bo taking your drip to the next level. Armando, all the stories. I hope he ends up on Netflix real soon. And who am I missing? Who's the last one? Oh, how could I forget? DJ Sizzle. So DJ Sizzle, who literally in a time where everything is at a standstill, DJ Sizzle like keeps us moving. So like these are stars that like I draw inspiration from, and we get to meet them a little bit later. I can briefly describe the mission of Immigrants Rising, and it's really to empower undocumented young people to achieve their educational and career goals through personal, institutional, and policy transformation. So that's like the core mission of Immigrants Rising. And I've been a beneficiary of and contributor to Immigrants Rising initiatives. And you'll see folks on in the meeting that are, part of the team. And the array of programming has been so helpful, not just folks in the Bay Area where Immigrants Rising is located, but really throughout the nation. I wish Ileana was here to describe the UndocuHustle, and that's because she coined the term, and it really refers to this like entrepreneurial spirit that's at the heart of the immigrant experience. And in building out the hub, what we're really here to do is show you how to leverage your skills, your knowledge and experience so that you can generate income through either starting a business or independent contracting and freelancing, regardless of immigration status. So given all of your stories and like the risks you and your families have taken, we wholeheartedly believe that you have a strong foundation to transition into like income generating freelancing opportunities and entrepreneurial activities. Ileana, are you back?
I'm back. Yes, it looks like I'm back. Sorry about that with my technical difficulties, but thank you so much, Chris, for going over that great introduction of Immigrants Rising, the UndocuHustle. Definitely just want to reiterate that this work is definitely rooted in the entrepreneurial spirit of the undocumented community. It's been what has inspired me to do this work for so many years, and it's been amazing to see how far entrepreneurship can really help people not just survive but thrive in this country. We see that in Chris and the entrepreneurs we're going to feature today, and I've seen it with my own parents. So this is something that is real, that is tangible. And now we'd like to take a few seconds to thank our funders. We have been extremely fortunate at Immigrants Rising to have the amazing support from the Chavez Family Foundation, the Alejandro Sanz Dreamer Campaign, Forward.us, the Education Fund, Google, the Grow Foundation, James Gutierrez, Elise Robert and Colleen Haas, Hawkins Strauss Foundation, Valley Community Foundation, Jorge Ramos, Unbound Philanthropy, Alicia Weasel, Latinos in Tech Giving Circle, author and Tony Rembrock, and the Levi Strauss Foundation. So these organizations have been supporting our entrepreneurship work for many years, and for that, we're extremely grateful. And now, pass it over to Claire.
I'll give you all a quick overview of the team. So you had 3 core organizations that really brought this to life. So the folks at Forward with the overarching support, and then you have this amazing team in Desklight with like the technical development and marketing and design expertise to really bring like the curriculum to like the next level. And of course you have the Immigrants Rising team who's always there, consistent, really dedicated to its core mission. And as we go through the numbers, right? So this is a nice snapshot for you all to see. So that's about 19 collaborators across 4 time zones. I want you to keep in mind that we were actually racing against the Supreme Court DACA decision, and we just missed out by a week in terms of building out the soft launch minimum viable product. And this marks week 14. So to start from like essentially scratch and to do this in just 14 weeks has been amazing. For those of you that joined us in preview day, so over 120 RSVP'd, but for launch day today, I think at last count it was 419 RSVPs, and I want to thank all of you for your support. But this journey literally starts with the curriculum, and there's no better person to go through that than Ileana.
Thank you, Chris. So the curriculum that you're going to find on this Learning Hub is intended to be for early stage independent contractors and business owners. So for anyone that is new to entrepreneurship, wishes to learn a little bit more about how to get started in either one direction, this content is for you. It's also for educators, for all of the folks out there representing colleges and universities across the United States, community-based organization. This curriculum is also for you so that you can adopt so that you can adopt for yourself and for your students. So the way the curriculum is displayed is that there's a topic, a subtopic, there's worksheets for every one of the 5 topics that we're going to talk about, along with a list of resources to dive deeper into depth in each one of these topics. Each one is also supported with video content. We're going to show you just a couple of the video clips. They are no longer than 3 minutes, so it is intended to be sort of having content both visual and written, depending on what type of learning you prefer. And all of this content was created and reviewed by undocumented professionals over the course of the past 10 years. So we have curated this content, and it's very much specific to address the needs of the immigrant undocumented community. And so the 5 topics that we have right now start off with choosing whether you want to start off as looking as an independent contractor or if you want to explore opportunities to start a business. After that, the more general topics that really can be relevant to both independent contractors and business owners are finance and capital, taxes, and marketing. And on the demo, we're going to show you what it's like to go through each one of these modules. I also recommend for individuals to either work individually or if you want to grab a buddy, do this as a group. We really encourage for individuals to come together, hold each other accountable to go through all the different modules, complete the worksheets, provide feedback to one another.
And to go over design, just know that we had this amazing illustrator in Brian, who can relate to the undocumented experience, who really just created some culturally reflective, visually forward elements that really make all the content pop out even more. And with a lot of your feedback, so we did some user testing, some user research. We settled on a single page view so that folks would get a nice little preview of what they would have to cover within a topic. We also modified it so that you have an account sign up option, so you can save your progress, and it's all in line with this just-in-time learning and learning at your own pace. And when it comes to representation, just know that both in the illustrations and in the creation of the product through the team, you had Black, Asian, Latinx, LGBTQIA+ representation in mind. Could we have done better? Of course. Just remember overall context, just that race for time ahead of the Supreme Court decision. And in just being in all the meetings, I stand 100% behind a lot of decisions that were made. As far as next steps, so on the right, you will see the current topics that are on the platform right now. But we already have additional topics coming up. We will do some language translation starting with Spanish. And then there's this bigger goal that Immigrants Rising has, and it's working towards this certification. In completing the hub, it's really training for entrepreneurship, and there are going to be some opportunities tied to that training. And this sort of trend in credentialing is something you'll see in the workforce development space. And I'm really glad that Immigrants Rising is implementing that with the tool. And with that, both Ileana and I will do a quick demo. And Ileana's going to start it off with the landing page.
Thank you, Chris. And you can all follow along on undocuhustle.org. And so here, what you're going to see immediately when you come in are the amazing illustrations by Brian. If you scroll down, you're going to see our video. If you have not seen our UndocuHustle film, this features several entrepreneurs and also talks a little bit more about this concept of the UndocuHustle. Immediately, we recommend signing up. And again, it's a very easy sign up. It's just your name, your state. And the purpose of signing up is that you can access the worksheets and save your work and refer to later. And we're going to go through that in just a bit. And then after this, we have some information about Immigrants Rising. We have our website. We have all of our making money resources in one landing page that we definitely encourage you to check out. We have lots of webinars, guides, additional information. If you didn't know, we also have an UndocuHustle Facebook group that we encourage you to join. There is a great opportunity to connect with other folks there. From here, what we recommend is going into Get Started. And this is the page where you can determine how is it that you want to start your UndocuHustle. So there's a very small video clip that's about 3 minutes long that we recommend watching to kind of get an idea of the two different paths that entrepreneurs typically go through, which could be as an independent contractor or as a business owner. You can choose to start with one or the other and come back. So maybe you want to do the business owner if you're a more established business, but want to know a little bit more about what it's actually like to do the contracting route as well, and vice versa. So it really is up to you to decide which path you want to take. And today we're going to walk you briefly through the independent contractor path.
Sure. So even though I do have entrepreneurship experience, I've also been hired as an independent contractor. So when we go to this topic, first thing you'll see is a quick video. It gives you nice tidbits of information that will help you walk through the rest of the content. You'll find out what exactly is an independent contractor. This broader idea of like what the gig economy is, and the types of independent contracting work that you could do. And then, so if you're a visual learner, you have that video, but if you like digesting lots of text, you have that as well. So that should appeal to various types of learners. What I really like is right after the videos, there's usually this section where it's very introspective, right? So you get to explore all these amazing ideas you have in your head, and you'll get these prompts to help stimulate further development of those ideas. And as someone who's been through this process, you sometimes need that nudge to get some of your ideas out in greater detail. It might challenge you, but it is definitely necessary for you to attain sustainable success, whether it's freelancing as an independent contractor or running your own business. And as you start to scroll down, you'll see other subtopics like the legal considerations that you might need to, really delve into when it comes to independent contracting. And then you'll get tips, how to communicate with potential clients. You'll get like almost sample contracts or pieces of contracts to help guide you so that you have your legal documents in order. And also the forms like tax forms or like licensing, like you'll get exposure to what's required of you. Again, whether or not it's independent contracting or starting a business. And what's really neat about how the entire platform is structured is at the end, as you've gone through the content, there's a worksheet for you. And this is where sign up really matters, because you get to save your progress. You get to go back whenever you wish so that you can continue learning. You can jump around from various topics, and you'll see the progress bar on top, which was one thing that was noted by a lot of the early users, and we made sure to implement that. So here you have like a pretty comprehensive, yet very accessible, digestible resource that will challenge you, inform you, and take you to the next step of starting a business. And I think now that you've gotten a taste, I think you should, this is like a good place for you all to meet some entrepreneurs who, again, are making moves, making progress, and their experiences have actually contributed to the hub. So again, with Reina doing some amazing things in the nonprofit space, Armando creating content, which is so highly coveted right now, Adam, amazing things in the music industry, Bo, again, check out the apparel, so take your drip to the next level. And of course, DJ Sizzle, who I once was a housemate of because of an Immigrants Rising event. Like the way she keeps everybody moving and joyful in the toughest of times is super inspirational. And I'll throw it back to Ileana.
Thank you so much, Chris, for that wonderful overview of the hub. We are super excited about all the content, and we really encourage you to take your time exploring all the contents. Take your time going through the worksheets. Find a buddy to hold you accountable to go through all the information. And as Chris mentioned, we really wanted to be intentional about featuring entrepreneurs all throughout the hub. So all throughout the hub, you're going to get faces, quotes of inspiration to keep you going as you're going through the content, and to really give you that inspiration that, look, you have these amazing individuals doing all this great work regardless of immigration status. And we thought that today we would actually have these entrepreneurs join us today in a conversation. So I'm so excited to have Reina, Adam, Armando, DJ Sizzle, and Bo joining us today to really take part in this amazing event and this amazing launch. So let's go ahead and get started. And the way we're going to do this, we're going to have folks introduce themselves, talk a little bit about their businesses, their organizations, and really engage in a conversation about what the UndocuHustle means to all of you and what you think about our hub. So Reina, if we can start with you, please. Welcome.
Hey everyone, I'm super excited to be here with you all today. Thank you so much for Immigrants Rising for putting this together. My name is Reina Montoya. I was born in Mexico and grew up in Mesa, Arizona. So Arizona is not known to be the friendliest places for undocumented immigrants. Now fast forward many years, I am a DACA recipient, and in 2016, in the midst of so much chaos, I decided to take a leap of faith, and I founded Aliento. Aliento translates into breath, but when you give aliento to someone, it's like giving words of encouragement. So our whole mission at Aliento is to transform trauma that has been created by our just immigration laws into hope and action. And we do that through many different ways, from leadership development to training teachers, to being at the state capitol, to really providing arts and healing workshops for our little ones at the age of 7 in a multi-generational setting with like abuelitos, grandmas and grandpas, and moms and dads can come together as a family unit, however they define family, to really heal from this generational trauma that has been created. I am deeply inspired by UndocuHustle. My dad used to sell cassettes. For those of you who are younger, you probably don't even know what cassettes are, but he always had a side hustle. And I'm so inspired. He was completely undocumented. My family ended up escaping violence. He was actually kidnapped by Mexican police, and we had to endure so much trauma. And even within that, he always had the desire to do the best that he could for his family, and that's why he was courageous, and he left Mexico for him to settle here in the United States. And now he has his own business. He does construction, but I always remember his spirit of doesn't matter what are the barriers, doesn't matter how many doors get shut in your face. If you have the drive, if you have desire, your journey might be longer, it might be tougher, but you can get there.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Reina. So inspiring, and the work you do is so needed within our communities. Thank you so much. Adam, welcome. If you can introduce yourself, talk to us about Audilis.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. My name is Adam from Tanzania, and I immigrated from Togo, West Africa, on the earlier part of the 2000s, right after George Bush got in power. And I'm very excited, super excited to be here. And my company, Audilis, is a company that provides music publishing services to artists and bands. And we also provide licensing and music licensing services to content providers and broadcasters all over the world. We also do have a music library that has tentacles all around the world. And part of that music library was actually created as a result of, or more like inspired, with the fact that there are so many artists, undocumented artists throughout the US who don't have the same access to opportunities that everyone else has. And I wanted to sort of level a little bit of the playing field and create opportunities, create a home for everyone else. I'm also an undocumented artist. I am undocumented and undocumented artist. So I created a home for myself and for others to be able to thrive and meet and connect with some very influential people in the music space here in the US and abroad. My first impression of the UndocuHustle Hub or UndocuHustle is that the, there couldn't have been a better time for this. First time actually logging on and joining, I immediately said to myself, okay, finally we can actually stop Googling for information about starting and running a business. Literally, this is the place. You can forget about every every other um, platform or service out there because people actually charge premium for what this is. They charge premium for just bringing people together. It's a combination of almost like LinkedIn, Khan Academy for the entrepreneurs, and sort of your a support group of entrepreneurs and immigrants to help each other get to the next level. So I'm very excited to be here. Always here for anyone else that needs any kind of support. Just reach out.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Adam. You totally embody this definition of the undocuhustle and creating your own opportunities and opening the doors for other individuals to be able to be part of that world. So thank you so much, Adam. So appreciative of
Absolutely.
your work.
It's an honor.
Thank you. Thank you. Armando, welcome, welcome. It's great to see you again. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you're up to.
Hello, everyone. My name is Armando Ibanez. I am a filmmaker, content creator, editor, writer, and I started writing stories just as a, what I want to share today is that when I started creating videos and I started creating content, I underestimate my power. I underestimate my art and my talent. Now, for all of those, I created a YouTube web series in 2016 called Undocumented Tales because I just wanted to share my experiences as an undocumented queer Mexican server who lives in LA and who has like different experiences that I haven't seen in mainstream media. But along the way, I realized that as an artist, I also have to think business and I don't have to underestimate my power to become big, but also to make business from my art. And I've been learning along the way. What I want to share with all of you is that sometimes we do have resources that are going to help us. Resources like the resources that Immigrants Rising has been creating since 10 years ago that helped me, that I didn't know these resources were out there until I started creating my own things and I started finding on my way, oh, wait, there's Immigrants Rising and there are other organizations that are able to help undocumented people like me. And I think one of the things that I lack, one of the things about why I underestimate myself is because I didn't know about these resources before. Had I known, obviously I had started way earlier, right? So this is why I'm so excited for the launch of this. So this is gonna be a lot easier for many of us who are also spreading the message of becoming, you know, like making it far, like Reina, like them, like all of you and Immigrants Rising. I feel like now we finally have a website that we can like just share with everyone who comes. Like I'm sure like Reina, Erem, DJC, so like with me, people come to me here and then and they send messages and like, oh, how are you doing this? How did you start this? Right now I just started my LLC. Now I can, you know, like there's ways that my goal is to infiltrate in the entertainment industry, to be able to create content, series, films, create social change. But at the same time, if I don't think business, that means I feel like I'm not dreaming big, right? So we are allowed to break that wall and believe that we can create change despite of everything that we have been told. And same as all of you, I feel like when I started my project, I wanted to just change people's minds, but now I also want to create change through, like, if I get resources, I share these resources with my people. If I get a grant, I share this grant with the people. I hire undocumented artists and filmmakers in my projects. Very intentional, because that's the way we're gonna create change. But at the same time, we're gonna be encouraging others to dream big and create community, right? To create community and break those walls, because one person alone cannot do it. So thanks to Immigrants Rising, I have been able to advance my career, and I have been learning a lot about what are the things that I can do. The LLC is very important. I just created my LLC, what we can do with the IT number, independent contracting. There are so many things that I just didn't know 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and that now are more available in this UndocuHustle. So I am so excited to be here, and thank you so much for allowing me to share my experiences and to be able to share a space with all of you. And I think that I'm gonna stop talking, because I feel like I'm talking a lot, and I feel like I should give the word and introduce the next person who you just joined us, but Eliana is gonna present her.
Thank you so much, Armando. And I love reading the comments with Reina. Definitely, Reina, I agree with you that we are so inspired by Armando's hustle, creativity. And I love that you are bringing other undocumented artists onto the table and giving the spotlight on them as well. This is really what all of this is about, to like uplift one another. So thank you so much. DJ Sizzle is in the house. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Sizzle, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be able to share this space with everyone online. It's all folks that I look up to, and I'm just really humbled and honored to be here. Congratulations, Ileana and Immigrants Rising, on the UndocuHustle Hub, which I think is a very needed and necessary piece of tool. Undocumented folks have, especially in these trying times, right? As you know, I was introduced, my name is Cecile Pech, also known as DJ Sizzle Fantastic. I am the co-founder and director of Cumbiaton, which is now a national event production company. Started off in Los Angeles, then branched off to cities like San Francisco, Seattle, and New York. So our focus is mainly on the nightlife industry, right? Empowering and inviting our undocumented community, our queer community, our Black communities into a space where we're gonna be able to celebrate each other's resilience. In fact, Cumbiaton was born out of the need for, this radical joy. We were initiated right after the 45th took into, just got into power. And it was a very trying, trying times, as we all come from immigrant rights organizing, labor rights organizing. The energy was really heavy. And we wanted to create a space where, we could uplift and kind of refuel our bodies, souls, and spirit. And thus Cumbiaton was born, right? A place where you can come and be yourself unapologetically, as long as you're not, hating on anybody, harassing anybody. It's a different model that we're trying to build within the nightlife industry, because for years, if you've gone out to the clubs, if you've gone out to the nightlife, there's some things that might not flow as well, with your political stance or just your values. But what we're trying to do at Cumbiaton is kind of shatter those norms and, say that the nightlife is a place where people can come and rejoice and refuel, right? So I see many of y'all have been sharing, right, about what it's like to just be doing the type of work that y'all are doing, reflective of our communities. And especially in these times, right, we have political unrest, we have a pandemic going on. So we've been able, kind of we've been forced to shift our work, which had been in the previous, years, we're on our third year, had been mainly, one-on-one contact outdoors, in spaces where we would fill up, folks that would come through the doors, about 1,500 people at venues. We've had to shift that to online. And it's been challenging, I'm not gonna lie, but I think this is the heart and the spirit of the entrepreneur, as Ilana was saying, right? Just kind of finding the opportunities where others might not see them. And I think as immigrants, we just, all have that naturally, not necessarily by choice, I would say, right? But it's almost by necessity. And it's this need to thrive, and it's this need to survive, and it's this need to be able to provide for ourselves and for our families. And I say that now because with DACA just constantly being under attack, we have to be able to take control of our own lives, right? The little or the most control that we can. And if that means becoming our own bosses, if that means employing our own folks, if that means employing, people from within our community, I'm a strong and huge advocate for employing, other undocumented, employing other undocumented folks and building off of that, right? As Armando was mentioning, you can form an LLC, you can form a workers cooperative, you could form these other types of business models, right? That might not be your typical capitalistic, almost, like where they're just trying to squeeze everything out of you. On the contrary, you can build something that, again, is going to be not only beneficial to you, but to your family, to your community, right? And I think it's really important to root yourself in that. And, at Cumiaton, that's what we're trying to do. There's 5 of us, all of us are undocumented. We are artists within our own respective fields. We have DJ Funky Caramelo, Norms La Oaxaqueña, who's our production manager, Julio Salgado, who does our graphics, Paolo, who's our resident photographer, right? But I would just kind of reiterate, always invest in your community, because the biggest investment you can do is in yourself and within your community. So thank you once again, Immigrants Rising. Ileana, congratulations on the Hustle Hub. I know it's going to be a resource for so many folks, and I just happy that I'm going to be able to now really direct folks into here, check out this website, because you just, you need it to be able to connect with other folks. So muchísimas gracias, everyone. Thank you for having me out.
Thank you so much, DJ Zizzle. Thank you for bringing all that joy into our lives. I know that I have been, participating in some of your online sessions, dancing along. I love watching you and your mom on there shaking it. So thank you for that. And we have Bo joining us here. Hi, Bo. Welcome. Right on time.
Hi, how y'all doing? It's great to hear from y'all. Just had some technical difficulties, and my tires actually just popped, so I was stranded just now. So I was like, I'm in a weird state, but yeah. Hello, guys. Should I just get started? Introduction, and then just
for
talk
it,
about
Bo.
these?
Tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, your fashion clothing line.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So, just kind of piggybacking off other folks too. I definitely feel for me not having DACA and just kind of always putting my hope on federal changes, really, I got let down a couple of times. I feel like we all have, so I feel like meeting such inspirational folks like Ileana, Adam, different folks, I felt really inspired to kind of find my own agency and find my true passion too, and find a life outside of my status, because I felt like for a long time I let that status dictate how I live and kind of just chase more the sense of stability and all these things. So I got into fashion and clothing just by using art as a way to heal, and then through that I learned different techniques, as in how they print shirts, how they print different things. And I think the way I went about it was a lot. Immigrants Rising helped me a lot, really, just and then just working there too, just the network, and then just all the mentorship, and then just understanding of how to become like a bridge between communities and between places. And I feel like that's where I see myself as a clothing or like, like fashion artist. It's just like to bridge the world of like fashion, art, advocacy, and like having our voice be heard and telling our own stories within our own agency. And right now is Illegal Drip has a lot of unofficial members, like my partner, like different people. So we work with our undocumented filmmaker, like photographers. So we just had a photo shoot with like musician, different folks, and kind of just like bringing out different narratives. And also I wanted Illegal Drip to be like a platform to highlight undocumented folks, but also to kind of just run different things like, um, I don't know, like, fundraising and like just working with community through events, and we're trying to create a database. So to be honest, a lot of like the work in Illegal Drip is modeled after Immigrants Rising, Ileana, and different people that I've seen, and I'm just trying to kind of like learn and, all of that. And yeah, I definitely, I'm a big fan, you know, and thank you for creating all this space and all this wisdom and knowledge that make like other undocumented folks have it easier. I feel like y'all really have paved the way.
Oh, thank you so much, Bo. And I know that we are constantly inspired by everything that you're doing. We're constantly inspired by, the messaging that is part of your clothing. So definitely, we did post on here Bo's website, and I think that I would love to have this conversation continue for a lot longer. But I think if you all just want to share some words of wisdom, inspiration for some of the folks that are listening on here that may be trying to figure out, how do you get started? How do you do this? Like, how do I take that first step? If you all would like to share, what would you say to the folks out there who are ready to launch and maybe a little bit afraid to do so? And anyone who's ready to jump in.
I'll just go.
Yeah, go ahead, Bo.
Oh, okay. I guess for me in the beginning, right, hearing like Armando and everybody too, like I just felt like for me it took me a while because I did not see myself in that position, And I feel like Yosimar also have said this, I feel like it's like, sometimes my aspiration and my dream is only as an undocumented person. And I compare it to like the notion of like maybe professionalism or how American folks run things, right? So even though like, our family is in businesses, they've been hustling, but we don't see them as CEO, this is another. So I feel like for me, it's like kind of like letting go of that notion of how my business should look like and what it looked like, because I would just feel like I'm not enough, right? And then the lack of paperwork and documents make me feel even like less, lacking, because then there's a lot of barriers to it too. So I would say like for me, it was really about embracing myself, the way I run things, and embracing like, just like thinking about like how would I do this organically and build it from what I know. So that's why I started with like the immigrant community, with like, just working with people I know and build it from there. And use what you have. Like the brand was being sold at the back of this car, like I was screen printing it myself, selling on IG. I didn't have a website. So I feel like it's just about, kind of like doing it in your authentic way and learning and growing. Everything is like a learning lesson. That's what I would say. And I'm all right. What's up, Adam? My bad.
Hey,
My
Bo.
bad.
It's very great to see you, man. I am super inspired by what you do, because it kind of just basically just shows that, at any stage you can actually start a business, with either something that you're really, really good at or something that you can relatively easily do, whether you have DACA or not. You and I don't have DACA, and we're both undocumented. But what we decided was, okay, we're just gonna create. Since they're not gonna hire us, we're just gonna create something that would hire ourselves, essentially, right? So I think that it's important to just kind of, not be intimidated. Throw ideas around, actually play around, bounce it off of a lot of different people that and just get inspired. Don't the not having papers and not having or being undocumented is just I look at it as just maybe just a formality, right? You imagine yourself out of that sometimes. You sort of try to like imagine a better a better world that you live in, and then you try to create that. Although there are obstacles, you know, there will always be obstacles. But our challenge, or you know, is to find fun in solving um you know, solving those issues, solving those problems, and finding ways around those obstacles. I mean, you know, that, and over time we do get pretty good at it, I think.
Thank you so much, Adam. Armando, Reina, DJ Sizzle.
I can chime in. I think for me, it was very, very different. I first created an LLC way back in the day in 2010 because Arizona was in the epicenter of hate. We didn't, E-Verify has been in Arizona for years. So we had to be very creative, as Eden was saying, like, if they're not going to hire us, how are we going to generate income and how are we going to survive? So I think for me, it was not really understanding about the business structure, but being able to find different avenues. Fast forward, you know, like I want to acknowledge that I have DACA, and it's even within DACA, like that's going to be a barrier. But as Eden said, that's just an obstacle. That doesn't mean that you cannot overcome it. There's always, when there's not a way or a pathway, we sometimes have to create our own pathways. So for us, it's like, how do we define that? I think for me, what has really anchor me is really understanding the why. When I founded Aliento, I was very resistant to creating a nonprofit organization. We're actually set up as a social enterprise where we have an LLC, and just this year we filed for our official 501c3. So we are a nonprofit, so we have both models. But for me, what was so crucial, besides that, I didn't know these fancy terms in business. I didn't go to business school, but it was understanding my why. What do I want to do? What is the impact that I want to create with my community? How do I make sure that it's not top down, but it's really a collective, and really anchoring in like, what is the vision? What is the mission? And how does it look like to really put it in practice and in action? Because I had been part of other organizations that really hurt me, and that's what really inspired me. How do we co-create different structures that were not harming one another for a specific goal? And that really anchored me, and that got me through, that why really got me through the budgets and trying to figure out this logistics and reading all this legal paperwork that sometimes felt so daunting. But I could always ask that. I could always learn that. And I can always like look it up on Google or ask my friends or my colleagues or other entrepreneurs. But really at the end of the day, if you have your why, if you really know what you're doing now, and you really start identifying your niche and why are you unique or why are you different, and why does your vision or the collective vision of a group has to be done differently, I think that that's what's going to get you through the budgets and the taxes and all that good stuff.
Cecile, you want to go?
Yeah, I think, thank you. And I definitely agree with, you know, everything that everyone has been saying. It's scary, you know, it's scary to start your own business. It's scary to take that leap of faith. Before I started this company, I was, you know, in a comfortable, you know, steady job, you know, with benefits and things like that, thanks to DACA. But, you know, it's hard to leave that stability. But I think if we kind of limit ourselves and we don't put our dreams, you know, front and center, I think that's when the real loss comes, right? And whatever your dreams are, whether, you know, it's in, you know, trying to help out your community, it's in business, it's in fashion, whatever it is, I think, you know, we have a duty to ourselves to really be, you know, as loving and caring for our passions as, you know, we are for other things, right? And even though it was scary, I think something that, you know, still sits with me to this day, and I've heard this amongst the panelists today, is that we almost have to do it for us, by us, right? Because there's always going to be people that are going to want to tell the immigrant narrative, that are going to want to tell the undocumented narrative, right? And when that's not their story to tell, you know, and it's important that we are all out here really just, you know, elevating our own voices, right? Because there's this term like, I am the voice for the voiceless. Nah, son, you just got to pass the mic to those people that you are not allowing, you know, to voice their needs. So I think it's really important, whatever dream or whatever vision that you have, that you continue to follow it, because there's already people out there doing it, right? But nobody can do, or nobody can tell your experience, nobody can tell your story other than yourself, because that is, you know, that is your right. So I would definitely encourage other folks, you know, if they have these ideas, just to go full force and, you know, trusting in the universe, but also, as you know, many folks have said, doing your research, making sure that you have your resources available. Immigrants Rising is an amazing resource, and I always recommend it when I do like public speaking events. I'm always plugging them in because it's one of the few organizations that I've seen really kind of put their money where their mouth is, right? Talking that talk and walking that walk. So I really appreciate everything that you all have done, along with the connections that I've been able to make within you know, Immigrants Rising, and so many business entrepreneurs here, that it's just like an overwhelming feeling of inspiration, which, you know, I think that's what our community needs more than ever.
From my part, what I really want to highlight, that I'm always talking about, it's that depending on your experience, if you want to start a business, depending on your experience, your questions are going to be different. You know, and sometimes, you know, me, someone else, the resources, Immigrants Rising might have the answers. Sometimes you will find to figure out the answer on your own. It sounds hard and it sounds cruel at some point, but what I've been learning is that there is no precedent for this, right? We're all trying to put together what we've been sharing, the resources that we have found, what worked for me, what worked for DJ CISO, what worked for Reina, putting it together. And so these, from all of these, can help others depending on your experiences. As a non-DACA recipient, my journey, I feel like obviously it's different than someone who has DACA or someone who has a work, just a work permit. Like, it all depends. That has a lot to do. So because of that, I don't want you to get discouraged just because you hear different stories. That seems like, oh, maybe that I cannot do this because my experience is different. I'm not DACA. Like, do not get discouraged. Like, there are resources, but also there are questions that you are gonna have to figure out yourself, but it is possible. Just step out of the comfort zone. It is scary, it's intimidating. Why? Because you will find out that maybe someone else hasn't done it before. Don't be afraid to be the first one. Don't be afraid to be the first one who do, you know, to create a business that hasn't been created before. Being the first one, it's scary, but you know, someone has to do it.
I'd like to jump in on that, especially because that is one of the first questions in the Q&A. Marissa asked, how do you know if you're ready to start your own business? And I'm gonna tell you straight up, you will never feel like you're ready. That should not, however, deter you, right? I want you all to reflect on your strengths and some of your passions to help you push through that nervousness. But that's not gonna go away. Quick example, I made a grand total of $0 the first 4 months of my business. I didn't know what I was doing. If I had this tool, that would not have happened. My company brings in 6 figures in revenue. If I had this tool, that would have happened maybe a year or two earlier. So again, a lot of the insights are within this tool. And then you just heard from amazing examples of how like entrepreneurship became our empowerment. And if you look around the room, the panelists, amongst the audience, there's so many examples that show all of us, show the world that being paperless does not mean that you are powerless. So that's sort of my final thoughts to really culminate an amazing like hour of like just hearing from amazing entrepreneurs and how the tool can be involved in helping to develop your own ideas.
Thank you so much, Chris. And I know that we are unfortunately at time, and I really think that we should take the show on the road, have you all go all across the United States sharing your amazing stories and words of wisdom. And so I apologize that we couldn't get to too many questions, but I know that my colleague Gladys Castro, who is our entrepreneurship specialist with Immigrants Rising, typed in, we do have a Google form where if anybody has a specific question about entrepreneurship, I saw a couple of questions related to W-9s. If you can complete that form, Gladys and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I know there was also a quick question around our entrepreneurship fund. We are currently reviewing our program, but we will be opening our applications very soon, so stay tuned for that. You can get all of our updates on our Immigrants Rising website. And with that, thank you so much to our panelists. You are all so inspiring, and I am gonna have an amazing day after this, just glowing with admiration and appreciation for each one of you. And Chris, thank you so much for being an amazing co-host, for being my partner in crime in the creation of this hub. And really, I encourage everybody who is watching us to take a look at the UndocuHustle Hub, use it, get together with friends, send us feedback, let us know how we can support you on this journey through entrepreneurship. This is definitely a community effort. So reach back out to us. And again, thank you so much to everybody who joined us today. Have a wonderful rest of your days.